Becky, first of all, nice to see you once again. It's always very fun to see you.
Great to see you.
So I want to start off by asking you, we just saw this big confrontation between yourself and Rhea Ripley. What would it mean to you to have this match with her at WrestleMania 40?
It's an opportunity. It's a chance. It's a chance to take that title where it is sitting happily on her shoulder, not being threatened very much because she avoids it at all costs, whether she will attack somebody before the bell or maybe she'll have little Dom interfere. But there is an interesting thing there though, because two of her little gang, well, I've known them for 21 years. So you got to ask when it comes down to it, and it will come down to it, which side are they going to be on? But really, for me, more than anything, it is taking that title and making it relevant again, man. She's been walking around with it. I'm the best. I'm the greatest. You don't do anything. You don't defend it. You just walk around holding it like it's a little trophy. She has all the potential. She has all the good. She's great. She's got a natural finesse. But I have a scrappiness and a heart and a passion that is undeniable and that I don't think that she can compete with. And I want that. I want our champion to have heart and to care. Because the question is that title not represented because Rhea doesn't care or because she's lazy? Which one is it?
I don't know which one it is.
We're going to find out.
We definitely are.
We're going to find out.
So, Becky, next month you're going to be dropping your book. And I got to tell you, the second that I saw that you had a book coming out, I was like, oh my God, this is going to be very cool. Tell us about your experience with sitting down and putting this book together, writing it, and putting your vulnerability into it, as well as your stories and your voice.
Yeah, it was a pretty wild and arduous task, because you're looking at it and you have all these memories and all these things that you've done that you're like, oh, that's going to be a great story in my book one day. But sometimes it just doesn't fit, and it doesn't fit. And I would get hung up on little parts and I would come back to them and I'd leave them and then I would decide whether they were even worth mentioning. And so that sometimes became the hardest part. Like, how do you decide who gets talked about, who's represented, and how do you end it? Because life keeps going on. This is a biography and this is a wrestling business. Stuff is always happening. There's always chaos and there's always stuff to write about. So having a deadline and being disciplined in, okay, now you got to end it and you've done all the work that you can and now it's up to the people and what they think of it.
So you mentioned some stories, not being included, some stories being included. For you, was there a specific story that was maybe very challenging for you to put in there? Something that you maybe second guessed because you were like, oh, I want to let people in, but maybe not too much.
Yeah, there was a death of somebody that was quite close to me, and I'd written about it, and ultimately it was a hard thing to decide whether that should go in or stay out. But yeah, I think that was probably the biggest thing to overcome. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think even when you're talking about this, it's something that, especially when it comes to grief, everyone at some point has experienced something like that. So hearing your words and reading in your book, I think people are really going to connect to that. And nice to hear hear your perspective on that. So when you're with your book coming out, what do you want the message to be overall? When people are finished reading, what do you want them to be thinking inside their head?
Well, I think it's about. I know it's about perseverance. It's about hope. It's about, if I can go from being a little chunky kid who failed PE in Ireland to coming over and becoming the first woman to main event WrestleMania and to dominate what has previously been a male-dominated industry, if I can do it, as that little kid who failed PE, who was bullied for being overweight, then anybody can do anything.
Yes, I love that, Becky. Thank you so much, as always, for chatting with me, and I can't wait to read your book. I'm very excited about it.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Thank you, Becky.